Go on, Kyle. Ask him for your little brother back. Visitors? This morning you took my brother, Ike. He's the little freckled kid that looks like a football. At first, I was happy you took him away, but I've learned something today. That having a little brother is a pretty special thing. Yeah. Ah, heck, Mr. Visitors. I'm just a kid all alone in this crazy world. But if you could find it in your hearts or whatever you have to give my brother back to me, it sure would make my life brighter again. That was beautiful, dude. Did it work? Nope, they're leaving.
Hey, you squatty ass shit! What the is wrong with you? You must be some kind of to be able to ignore a crying child!
Whoa, dude!
You know what you like? You like to
Hey, Wendy, what's up?
Welcome to Going Down to South Park, the podcast where we have ourselves a time. I'm Dando.
I am Guy. Pleasure to be here talking about one of my... Oh, yeah, it's one of my favourite shows. I gotta say it.
It's so... man, honestly, I hadn't revisited the show for so long. And watching that first episode, Cartman gets an anal probe again, like that. This thing was like a Bible for me. I watched it every single day. I used to have the VHS tape. It was like South Park Series 1, Volume 1. And it had this and the episode Volcano on it as well. And I just watched it. I think I got it from like Sanity. And Mum had no idea what she was buying me at the time. It was an animated show. And then she eventually found out. But like, and I wasn't allowed to watch it anymore. But I remember like getting this tape and like being the cool kid because none of my friends had the tape. So like I'd like share it. My friends would come over and I'd be like, check out this new South Park show. And I'd watch it like, and they'd go home like tell their friends about it. And like all these friends would come to my house just to watch this South Park tape that I had. But yeah, I just go back and watching it. Fuck, I laughed, man. What I love about South Park is it allows you to laugh at things that you would normally be embarrassed to laugh about. Like fart jokes and things like that. Because everyone was in on it. Everyone felt okay to laugh at it when you're watching South Park, and it's just like, oh yeah, you find fart jokes funny too. It's okay to laugh at that stuff, but it's immature, it's corny. Not necessarily corny, but it's just crude. Yeah. But God, it's funny.
Oh God, look, for mine, I agree with you 100%, Dan. For mine, look, it's a really wonderful combination of lowest common denominator kind of humor, like you said. A lot of fart jokes, a lot of bodily functions going on, a lot of bad behavior, all that kind of business. But it's got both an underlying intelligence and an underlying sweetness as well. There's a certain sort of moral center to it. Even in later seasons when things get really dark and twisted and nasty, there's still an understanding that the world's essentially a pretty decent place, even, if bad shit happens on occasion and it's perpetrated by bad people. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful show, and I'm so happy to be going to be talking about it on the regular.
For all the shit that goes down in this episode, we have cows being turned inside out, anal probes, just you name it. But at the end of the day, the main story is Kyle, this crude kid that swears and calls his friend fat and all that. He's just trying to help his brother.
He is. He may dropkick his brother on occasion, but, it's his brother's own fault for being football-shaped. So, when it comes down to it, yes, Kyle is the kind of brother who will step to a posse of aliens and let loose a barrage of profanity, all bleeped out so we can't exactly make it out, but we're assuming it's pretty terrible. Like I said, there's a real sweetness and soul to this show that just works hand in hand with its crude, rude humour. For mine, it only gets better as it goes along. I use the term your mileage may vary a bit, and everyone's going to have their own favourite seasons, favourite characters, favourite whatnot, but it's off to a tremendous start. We're just off to the races with this, with season 1, episode 1, Cartman gets an anal probe. I mean, and just the the title alone of the first episode, it's kind of announcing, get on board. If you're not on board, this is not the ride for you, kids.
This is not The Simpsons.
Yes, indeed.
But it has, I know this is only the first episode, but it still had so many elements that were going to become mainstays in the show, like, oh my God, you kill Kenny. And just things like that where, I'm not fat, I'm big boned. All these catchphrases, they're all in the first episode.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God, they killed Kenny. I mean, screw you guys, I'm getting him. Yeah, what else? Yeah, a whole bunch of them. As I said, they've still got the training wheels on to some degree. The first time you hear Cartman this time around, it's like hearing Dan Castellano, forgive me for mispronouncing your surname, Dan, sort of finding the right tone and intonation and all that kind of stuff for Homer. It's not quite there yet, but it's it's certainly in the neighbourhood. It's in the ballpark.
It's close enough, yeah.
Oh yeah. But there's all that great stuff in there as well. You're right. It's we're just off to such a great start.
Like I said, I just remember this being on that videotape where I had the 2 episodes on it. But before each episode on those tapes, you used to get this little segment called a Fireside Chat with Matt and Trey. Have you ever seen these?
Oh yeah,
they are brilliant. They're amazing.
I know. I'm watching this episode to prep for this. Yeah, I watched the Fireside Chat with Matt and Trey as well, and
little Scratch.
old Scratch who turns into a different dog halfway through. just the looks that Parker and Stone are giving one another. Just these sort of really simpering looks. I mean,
it's like they're taking the piss out of everybody from the beginning.
Oh, absolutely. Look, I think it's kind of common knowledge that South Park was pretty much designed as a bit of an up yours, a bit of a fuck you to a very to what in the 90s was a very sort of politically correct, to the point of overcorrect kind of culture. Yeah, so these guys just decided to mercilessly take the piss out of anyone and everything.
They were the anti-heroes of pop culture.
Yeah. Not take anything that seriously, so you couldn't really nail it down. It says, oh, these guys are right-wing, or these guys are left-wing, or these guys are whatever. So, no, they're noticing that the absurdity in everything.
Yeah, I mean, this is like 1997, 98, and those Fireside Chats, being so willing to just openly act so flamboyant and gaze at each other and just not give a fuck about what anyone thinks about them. It's just amazing. I love it.
Yeah. Ripping into it a very sort of simpering kind of attitude and just, mercilessly taking the piss out of it. I love that. Love it.
I do remember, though, being a 10-year-old kid and watching those Fireside Chats. So I bought this. Mum bought me this South Park video. Like, she didn't know what it was. She let me buy it, or she paid for it, and I just took it home. Putting this tape in, and these 2 guys are on my screen, and I'm like, I'm a little scared. I don't know who these guys are. Well, did I put the right video in? I don't know what's going on here. But I just remember being so confused. But I went back and rewatched it recently, and I was like, my God, these guys are geniuses. But 10-year-old Dando was just like, what the hell is going on?
Oh yeah, look, I think they're very happy to sow a few seeds of confusion, Trey and Matt. Yeah, it was all part of the plan, as the Joker says. So,
but the only little slight nitpick I'll have with this episode, and they've come out and admitted it themselves, Matt and Trey, was that I do think at times the swearing and the name calling got a little bit too much. It was just like it was in there for the sake of being in there. There wasn't really a need for it. It was just dildo, fat ass. It was just like, it's funny, but by the end of it, it's just like, it's kind of a little, you tone it down just a little bit. It's kind of like in the first few episodes of Rick and Morty, they have him burping all the time, and fuck, it was really annoying, and they toned it down. It's okay to have angst with the 4 boys and have them name calling and stuff. That's what the show is based around, all the animosity. But it was just at times it felt like, that's enough, guys. You don't need all of this.
I certainly get where you're coming from, and I do agree with you. As I've said before, I mean, when you're a kid, and these guys are what, 3rd graders?
3rd graders, yeah. But
I think, when you're, 7 or 8, that's how old you are in grade 3, isn't it? You are sort of taking swear words out for a test drive.
That's true.
And, you're seeing how they feel in your mouth, and you're seeing what kind of reaction you get. It's like, oh wow, he's swearing. What a cool dude. So, I'll forgive them for using it a bit much. I think it's faithful to the childhood experience, or it's a very authentic sort of childhood representation. Yeah. As far as drama or comedy or comedy goes, you'd kind of go, it's a bit much. And I imagine that they realised that at an early stage, and like you said, reeled it back in a bit.
What I appreciate so much about this was a lot of people look at South Park and they go, look how cheap and lame it looks, right? Trey and Matt made this first episode by themselves with paper cutouts.
Yeah.
Like, that is incredible.
Yeah.
It took them 3 months to make the episode, but the fact that they made it themselves, that's why this show works so well, because their fingerprints are all over it. They're in complete control of this show. They don't have to rely on someone else to do this thing or whatever. I mean, they obviously got animators now doing the show, but it's like they write it, they direct it. They literally made the first episode with their bare fucking hands.
Yeah,
it's so much respect in that regard. But what I love about it is people hang shit on the animation, but that's why it looks the way it did. And because people liked the way the first episode looked, they were like, let's just computer generate to look like we're using paper cutouts all the time.
Absolutely. I think it's great that Comedy Central gave Parker and Stone basically free reign. Said,
just make something for us,
Yeah, do as you please, and, we'll see how it goes. And clearly, you look at the numbers or the rating numbers for this for the first season. This first episode attracted under 1 million viewers. 13 episodes
Just under,
later,
yeah.
it's like 980,000 or something. 13 episodes later, they're up to 6.4 million. You know,
It's crazy.
it's crazy and it's wonderful.
But it's funny because I remember, and that's the Cartman's Mom's a Dirty Slut part 1, the finale of season 1. I remember for me as a kid that being like the peak. I don't remember when I stopped watching South Park, but I just remember that being the biggest moment of the South Park bonanza, the big reveal of who Cartman's father's going to be.
Yeah.
So it's no surprise that that's the highest rated episode, because by the end of this season, it was just everywhere, man.
It's like a Who Shot JR or Who Shot Mr. Burns. Yeah, I mean,
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're not watching it still, or not really watching it on the regular, or
Honestly, listeners, I haven't watched South Park new episodes for a long, long time, which is why I've been wanting an excuse and a reason to go back and revisit it and watch the new ones as well. So, what better reason than doing a podcast? But yeah, going back and revisiting these earlier ones that I loved so much as a kid brought back so many great memories. I just I had so much fun watching this episode. It was great.
yeah. Look, I still watch it regularly.
Do you? Okay, cool. That's good. Yeah.
I think there are certain seasons in the later stages that I'm kind of like, look, it's just still as good as it was. I think there is a general consensus there are some seasons that are stronger than others and some that are weaker than others, absolutely.
Don't Matt and Trey want the show to end, but they won't let them?
I imagine that would be the case. I mean, I don't think Parker and Stone need to work anymore. I mean,
no, they don't. I swear they got I think they're worth like 600 million each or something.
Yeah, between South Park royalties, between Book of Mormon and everything else that they've sort of got their name on, they could probably go, to quote Hans Gruber from Die Hard, they could probably just go sit on a beach and earn 20%. But, they're still doing it, and they're still working as hard on it, it seems.
Yep.
Of course, they got a writer's room, but it feels like the Parker and Stone, and particularly the Parker, I'd say, fingerprints are still all over it.
It feels like Parker has more than to do with it than Stone, doesn't it? I mean, Stone, obviously they're a team, but it feels like Parker is the ringleader of the whole operation. Like he's overseeing everything. Everything goes through Parker in the final stages. If that makes sense. That's what it seems like to me, anyway.
Yeah, that's the way it appears. If it is different, we'll do a little more research and we'll give Mr. Stone his props. Look, I still watch it when the special editions come out, or when a new season begins. I'm like, I'll be into this and see what happens. But I've been satisfied more than I've been let down, I would say, over the last few years. So yeah, look, I'm happy to talk about South Park in any way, shape, or form. So
I can see the twinkle in your eye.
Yeah. Well, I got my Kyle hat on.
Yeah. So at the time when this first aired, critics did not like this show at all, did they? They thought this was a terrible episode. They thought it was too crude, wasn't going to get anywhere. And then all of a sudden, people watched it and went, "Hey, reviewers, you don't know what you're talking about. We fucking love this."
I think you had a few that realised, okay, yeah, they were on its wavelength. They saw what the show wanted to be, or what it was trying to get across, or the sense of humour that it had, and appreciated that, and sort of maybe saw past what could be viewed as the roughness of it. And but of course, I think there were some reviewers who just thought, oh no, this is just immature, childish, juvenile, fart gags and kids swearing, and that could be viewed as a bit cheap, as a bit obvious.
Was it a case at the time, because I was too young, but was it a case at the time that people dismissed it because of the crude humour, but then once they learned more about Matt and Trey and who they were, they come across like quite genuinely nice guys as well. Just down to earth, just dudes, basically.
Yeah.
Do you think there was that level of, so they're not just immature idiots making a show, they're comedic geniuses who were making a show that was perfect for the time? I mean, this came out at the same time when Jerry Springer was at its peak. The wrestling industry was booming with what they call the Attitude Era. Everything was just like in your face and crude. It
was I think people who may have had an issue with South Park probably had an issue with what was seen as the extreme vibe of the time, vibe of pop culture at the time, and sort of lumped everything that was kind of trashy or exploitative or, as I said, lowest common denominator all in the one bowl. And I think it took maybe a little while for the collective consciousness to kind of go, oh no, wait a minute. Yeah, this is rude and crude and raunchy and whatever, but it's not dumb.
Not at all.
It's not stupid. And the lowest common denominator stuff is actually working hand in hand with something that's a bit, it's silly, but it's also smart.
I compared the show South Park to, when it first started, to like the Bart Mania era of the early 90s in our first episode. Thinking more about that, they essentially did the same thing for Comedy Central, what Simpsons did for Fox. Comedy Central were coming around, like this new station coming along. I think I've read somewhere they're only able to charge like $7,000 for a commercial advertisement before South Park, and by the end of South Park season 1, they were getting like $80,000 or something.
Oh wow!
So it's just like they literally put Comedy Central on the map, and that's what it comes across as anyway.
Yeah. So between that and Chappelle's show later on in the early 2000s, but I think it's very much the house that South Park built, Comedy Central.
Yeah. Whenever I see the Comedy Central logo, I think of South Park.
Yeah, and that doom, 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 doom. Yeah. I forgot.
It's South Park.
And I'd also forgotten how much I missed that plane, that Braniff credit at the very end. Yeah, with Believe It. And I'm like, what? Is Braniff a production company? Is it an airline company that's branching into entertainment? I honestly... Forgive me, listeners and viewers, I still haven't looked that up. I could probably look up Braniff now and find out what they are.
Let's leave it. Let's let listeners write in and tell us.
Tell us what Braniff is, folks.
By the way, guys, if you'd like to write into the show, it is southparkmailbag@gmail.com. That's southparkmailbag, one word, @gmail.com. We'd love to hear from each and every one of you. It doesn't have to be a question, just be a comment about the show, anything at all. We will get to reading them all out on future podcasts. So southparkmailbag@gmail.com. Please do write in. But for now, Mr. Davis, I think it's time we get into our favourite moment. And for me, my favourite moment was... No, kid, this is my papa. No, get it.
Oh God, there were so many Cartman impersonations off the back of this episode because it's just
pie. Oh my God.
That kid is my papa.
Yeah, it's so funny. Oh God, man! I swear you can do the cut. As long as it's done in Cartman voice, it just sounds great. But that whole scene just no, get it. Literally had me in tears. I thought it was amazing.
Oh, well, man, and pissed at. All that stuff was good. I've got two favorite bits. I think one of them was like every time you see Chef driving around, there's always funk playing in his car, just the funk tune coming out of his radio. I'm like,
they played up all the stereotypes of Chef, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. Look, I'm looking forward to talking about Isaac Hayes as the voice of Chef and all that kind of stuff. That's a really interesting story, his relationship with Parker and Stone and how it sort of evolved and devolved as the show went along. But look, the casting of Isaac Hayes is just and
we even get a Chef song, which is great.
Oh yeah, that's just marvelous. But just he's driving around just to this. Well, it's not the Comedy Central theme, but just this fantastic sort of bass riff happening, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. But also when we, I think the first time we're introduced to Mr. Garrison as well. I've always liked Mr. Garrison.
Oh my God, I forgot that moment. That was my other favorite moment. You go to hell and you die.
God,
I quote that so much.
I quote that, but for some reason I also find myself quoting. Well, I think you should ask Mr. Hat.
How good is that?
I don't want to ask Mr. Hat. Well, I think you should ask Mr. Hat.
No. He screamed at him. I thought it was like, funny.
Where? No, you go to hell. You go to hell and you die.
Oh my God! I think you should ask the Hat. That's classic. Yeah.
All these lines were just being repeated in schoolyards and indeed workplaces. For weeks/months after this episode aired. So they're my two favorite bits from Cartman Gets an Anal Probe.
I'm glad you brought that up because, that was incredible. All right, I think it's now time for some trivia. You hit me with your first question, Mr. Davis.
Right. Oh, Mr. Dando. The first time that Stan calls the bus driver, Mrs. Crabtree, a fat bitch, what does he say he actually said?
Is it bad itch?
It is indeed bad itch.
Bad itch, yes. I wonder how many school kids actually did that after watching this. And didn't get away with it.
Never get away with it.
My first question is, where were the cows planning on catching a train to?
Oh, man.
Think of Colorado.
Denver,
yes.
Denver, Colorado. Okay, thank you for the tip. I think I know maybe two cities in Colorado, Denver and Boulder, so it had to be one of those.
Yeah. Well, you guessed correctly. What's your next question?
What is the dessert treat that Cartman's mum prepares for her son?
Chocolate chicken pot pie?
No, that's what he gets instead of what she's prepared for him.
Oh.
What's she holding in her hands when he?
Fuck! I can't remember. What was it?
It is called powdered donut pancake surprise.
That's right. Yes. Oh, I heard that and went, ooh, that sounds delicious. Anything that ends with surprise has got to be good.
True. And anything that has donuts in it can't be all that bad. But I mean, I just went into complete sugar shock hearing those words.
The best part about that too was when she goes away. Yes, I want some cheesy poofs.
Yeah, my cheesy poofs.
My next question is, what did the sign on the wall in the cafeteria say? I believe it might have been behind chef. Not the one that had the menu on it. There was another one.
I can see it, but I can't read it, and I've got my glasses on. I want to say like learning is awesome or something.
It's school food is good food.
Okay. One of those really sort of inane school posters that they have.
Yes, definitely.
How tall is the satellite dish that emerges from Cartman's anus?
Oh, that would be 80 foot?
80 foot.
That's a big dish.
Big ass dish. And that big ass.
My final question is, when the crop circles appear on the screen, and it's clearly Cartman's face, who does he mistake himself for?
Yeah, that looks kind of like Tom Selleck.
Well done, sir. You got it correct. I think we've got all the questions right. I think, no, you got the food, the poster one wrong, but you got one more question for me, have you? Or was that all?
I've got one more here, if you want.
Yeah, hit me. What do we got?
What is the name of the new on-the-job alien who turns the cows inside out by accident?
Oh, is it Carl?
It is Carl.
That was a hilarious twist, wasn't it?
It's like,
my bad.
My bad.
All right, that is our trivia for Cartman Gets an Anal Probe. We'll be right back after this short break with our full in-depth review of the episode.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of everything we do here at Four Finger Discount, you can show your support by joining the family at patreon.com/fourfingerdiscount. Here you'll get ad-free early access to all of our shows, Zoom calls with Guy and myself, as well as bonus podcasts such as Tales of Futurama and Guy on Springfield, where we go back and revisit classic episodes from the first 10 seasons. So go ahead and join the family today at patreon.com/fourfingerdiscount.
The original air date of Cartman Gets an Anal Probe was August 13th, 1997 in the US. Obviously, it would have aired 1998 in Australia, the UK, and various other countries. The episode was written by both Trey and Matt and directed by Trey. So the episode kicks off with, I'm going to throw it out there, probably the most iconic visual in the history of South Park, just the four kids at the bus stop. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's one that we see over and over and over again, but it's sort of...
It's the Simpsons living room, basically.
It is, yeah. Sets up, okay, got a group of four friends. They're of this age. They're on their way to school. Let's roll with it.
Ike being the little brother, well, first of all, I'm like, where are his parents? His little baby's just rocked up to the bus stop, annoying everybody, and we get, right out of the gate, we get a discussion about dildos.
Go home, you little dildo. Dude, don't call my brother a dildo. What's a dildo? Well, I don't know. And I'll bet Cartman doesn't know either. I know what it means. Well, what? I'm not telling you. What's a dildo, Kenny? Yeah, that's what Kyle's little brother is, all right.
Basically, they're saying, yes, this is clearly not your average run-of-the-mill animated series.
But, you see Parker and Stone sort of doing a little bit of arse covering, because when it gets time to get really dirty, all the truly adult stuff is foisted onto Kenny, who, he could be saying anything, but it's just going to be a bit grown up and a bit X-rated. But we're not hearing that.
That's what I've got here, literally in my notes. I've never realised how much of a genius character Kenny was. It allowed them to say things on TV without actually saying, because us, the viewers at home, knew exactly what he was saying.
Yeah.
But so he was relaying things that you couldn't really say on TV, but in our minds, we're hearing what he's saying, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like his verse of the South Park theme song is...
we should probably discuss what he says in that first intro. Do you remember?
Cover your ears, cover your ears, some listeners. Was it... I like girls with big fat titties. I like girls with deep vaginas.
Deep or loose vaginas, something along those lines, yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah. I remember the first time I looked it up on the internet, like, what does Kenny actually say? And find it and going, oh, my God. He does. I remember being like the cool kid at school because I knew it and I like told everyone. Everyone was like, whoa, how'd you know that?
Everyone wants to be that person who's sort of like, you know what he's actually saying there, right?
Yeah. You were the cool kid at school that day if you knew what Kenny said in the episode the night before, you know?
8 times out of 10, you're probably going to be not quite right about it. You know,
It's guesswork, but I mean, we'll get to it the next one when we get to it. We'll get to it. But
yes.
So yes, it's right out of the gate. We get the dildo discussion, and it's just like, oh my. All right, so Nicola just walked in. She walked in just as I said, dildo discussion. But then Kyle hits Cartman with Ike, and we get the very first kick the baby, which also becomes an iconic part of the series. The kick the baby.
Ready, Ike? Kick the baby.
Don't kick the baby.
Kick the baby.
Cartman is then tired, and it's due to the bogus nightmares he was having the night before. And the kids all explain to him, no, they weren't nightmares. That really happened, mate. You were probed by aliens. You know, they were alien visitors. Cartman just won't accept it. If when he's got an 80-foot satellite dish coming out of his ass, still won't accept it.
No, exactly.
Won't believe.
But I love that, everyone in South Park, even the kids, are sort of like into aliens. To the point, they're not even calling them aliens. Like, dude, visitors.
Yes. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Also, look, points to South Park. I don't know if they reintroduced or sort of repopularized the term dude, but I get dude had been around forever, and I think it was used a fair bit. But
Well, Ninja Turtles used it a bit.
yeah, but I think in the late 90s, I think it had probably not fallen out of favor. But these guys used it so much that I think it sort of got reintegrated into the general vocab.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because when the Ninja Turtles would say it, it was like, kitty, cowabunga, dude.
Yeah.
But this is just like, hey, dude, what are you doing?
Dude, yeah. Dude.
Yeah. Then we get the man himself, Chef, with his very first appearance. Would you like to elaborate? I know how much you love Chef.
As I said, it's just a stroke of genius getting Mr. Hot Buttered Soul, Mr. Theme from Shaft, Duke of New York, A#1 from the great John Carpenter film Escape from New York. Just getting Isaac Hayes, one of the coolest men in soul and R&B, to be this school chef who's also, just
children.
the South Park ladies' man who's coming up with inappropriate songs all the time and inappropriate advice. No, there's so much to be said, and we'll talk about it more and more as these episodes go along. But
it was a much needed character for the show because he was that adult figure that the kids could look up to.
I love that he's very much on the kids' side. He believes them when they talk about aliens, and to the point where it said, "Get out of school, children! Go rescue your little brother," and all that stuff. But in the meantime, he's sort of talking to them like he's not talking down to them. They sort of make mention of aliens and all that kind of stuff. You go, you probably got an anal probe. They put that hooba-joob up your butt. Also, just gold medal performance by Isaac Hayes just for his phrase, up your butt. Marvelous stuff.
What I also liked here too was they asked him what's for lunch. He tells them Salisbury steak and just comes kick ass. No need for it, but I'm just like, I appreciate this.
It's not that enticing sounding a meal, in all honesty.
No,
I mean,
just kick ass.
Kick ass.
But I mean, I never got served steak at school though.
I'm trying to remember what Salisbury steak is. I think it might be like a very sort of, not the best cut of the cow, but
Okay.
Still, steak.
They ask him about the visitors, and he explains what anal probes are and whatnot, like you said, the hooba-joob up your butt. And he's wearing the Believe shirt. I've read here that they wanted to incorporate aliens into the series more often, but Trey and Matt feared that it would come across like a poor X-Files ripoff, because X-Files was huge at the time still. So they strayed away from that, but they still included aliens in the background as just little hidden Easter eggs for the hardcore fans to notice.
They did.
The bus then arrives, and Kyle kicks his brother, once again goes through the window, and we get the fat bitch moment, which, like I said, I bet you a lot of people would have tried to, a lot of kids would have tried to copy this and would have gotten big trouble.
Damn it, he's still there. Don't worry about him. No, dude, if something happens to him, my parents are gonna blame me. Sit down back there! Ah! Yeah, whatever, you fat bitch. What did you say? I said I have a bad itch. Oh!
Mrs. Crabtree, she is a very intimidating lady.
Oh, goodness, yeah. But between the bird in the hair and the sort of the Austin Powers yellow teeth, and just the general belligerent manner, goodness me. I'm trying to remember if there were bus drivers that I didn't want to mess with when I was going to school.
See, quite often I would use my bus fare to buy a cheese and bacon roll and then try and sweet talk my way onto the bus for free, right? But there was always one bus driver who was just like, nah. And
No dice. No dice.
This ain't over.
How about hey, Mr. Bus Driver, how about a free ride? Sorry, cross-promoting the Four-Finger Discount Show.
We just reviewed The Old Man and the Key, which has the Charles Bronson, Missouri. It's an amazing moment. But yeah, there was always that one bus driver who it was just a hard ass, would never let you on. So that's the closest I came to Mrs. Crabtree. Never abusive, just like, nah, not getting on, buddy.
Yeah, there was always one you knew not to mess with or not to sort of like give the gland hand to or anything like that. It's just like, all right, get on, sit down, don't make too much noise. Some bus drivers were cool, but some were like, I get the feeling you'd rather be doing other stuff.
You're thinking of driving this bus off a cliff.
Pretty much.
But so they see the aliens abducting Ike from looking out the back window, and Kyle pleads with Miss Crabtree, please stop the bus. I thought this was hilarious, just the screaming. Yeah, just running to the back of the bus again. And we get another fat bitch moment. So now this is where we get Stan farting, which has absolutely nothing to do with anything. But when you're in 3rd grade and a kid farts, it's the funniest thing in the world.
Indeed. And of course,
hey,
you
dude,
top it up
you farted.
You farted. And then you top it off with Cartman. Somebody's baking brownies.
It's so stupid, but so funny.
What am I gonna do? My little brother's been abducted by aliens. You farted. Somebody's baking brownies.
And the aliens leave. We then get Officer Barbrady. He's looking at the dead cow, and he's trying to explain that no, cows turn themselves inside out all the time, and he just pretty much is in denial. You know, he's just like, no, there's something wrong with these cows. And is he in denial with the aliens? Because I think the farmer's trying to say there was aliens, and he's just like, no aliens around here. And
he's certainly in denial about, I think it was CIA black helicopters, and saying, no, that was a pigeon.
Yes, yeah. Then we're at school, and we are introduced to the one and only Mr. Garrison. He's given all these false facts about Christopher Columbus.
God, just jumbling up history, just, mishmashing a whole bunch of different eras and people into one, misguided history lesson. Terrible, terrible teacher.
We get a bit of character development here as well with Kyle raging about his dad. Where's that finger been, Kyle? And it's funny because, when you later on, when you meet Gerard Brodlowski, he doesn't seem like a bad dad at all. No, not really. His mum's a big fat bitch.
Well, true. But,
I watched that song this morning and tears.
Oh God, yeah. Look, I'm very much very much looking forward to talking about the musical aspect of pretty much everything that Parker and Stone do, because God, they love their musicals.
But they're literally comedic geniuses when it comes to writing a song, though.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. Look, I think I may have talked in the past about the first time I saw Bigger, Longer and Uncut, the South Park movie, which opens with just one of the great musical numbers in Uncle.
Fucky face, fucker.
My line on that is I nearly laughed myself into a brain aneurysm. I was just, oh my God, this is such a terrific song, and it's just talking about fucking uncles.
It's so catchy though.
It's incredibly catchy and incredibly vulgar, and I nearly laughed all the breath out of my body the first time I saw it. And I'm probably going to have to break out the Blu-ray and watch it again tonight, because such a good movie. But back to Cartman gets an anal probe.
Maybe we'll review the movie somewhere down the track for the listeners at home.
I believe we should.
But yeah, so Mr. Garrison, he won't let Kyle leave, and we get the moment you mentioned earlier. I think you should ask Mr. Hat.
Mr. Garrison, seriously, I have to go. Can I please be excused from class?
I don't know, Kyle. Did you ask Mr. Hat?
I don't want to ask Mr. Hat. I'm asking you.
Oh, I think you should ask Mr. Hat.
Mr. Hat, may I please be excused from class?
Well, Kyle.
No! You hear me? You go to hell! You go to hell and you die!
Guess you'll have to take your seat, Kyle.
Damn it!
Haha, Mr. Hat yelled at you.
It is so great. It's like he sets Kyle up to think, no, you don't want to ask me, ask Mr. Hat. He's the good cop in this situation.
And it just turns out to be an absolute monster.
But I have said you go to hell and you die, not in a serious way, as a joke. But I forgot how many quotes from this 22 minutes of television remained with me, stayed with me to this day.
Yeah, they just came up with a playbook of terrific one-liners that, just really caught the public imagination.
Cartman starts farting fire and sets the student on fire. Originally, he was going to start farting fire because some older kids gave him some hot tamales or something.
Yeah.
But they had to cut the episode down. It was originally 28 minutes. And it's like, because they forgot that you had to have commercial breaks or something. So they had to cut and change things around. So he's farted because of the anal probe.
By the way, don't forget that one of his flaming farts actually lights up the poor old Pip.
Oh, that's what I've got. Yeah, he lights the student on fire. Yeah, exactly. So the cows like I said, want to catch the train to Denver. They try the hypnosis, but it's not going to work. The cop arrives and scares them all away. Officer Barbrady.
I do like that on the cop car. Usually cop cars say to protect and serve. This one says to patronise and annoy.
Oh, I didn't notice that actually. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, very good. So we're at the cafeteria now. Did you hear the conversation between, I think it was like a Jewish kid and someone else?
I missed that.
Where it's like, it's panning across the room just before the kids start walking in. And he goes, yeah, it was bad gas. He's like, oh man, seriously, killer.
I missed that part.
Absolutely no need for that. It's just, yeah, it was bad gas. Oh man, seriously, killer. Oh man, Cartman is still farting fire, and we see Wendy Testerberger. So even like so many iconic characters introduced in the first episode.
Now this has the bit where Cartman's sort of going, Stan wants to kiss Wendy Testerberger.
Yeah.
It's just fun. It's just fun to do a Cartman impersonation.
And apologies, listeners, we're going to be doing it a lot.
Sorry about that, folks.
We then learn that Stan throws up whenever Wendy speaks to him, which is another recurring thing that appears throughout the series.
It is, and I love how she's not totally disgusted by it. It's just a very quick ew, and that's all. Yeah. That's all you really get. So good on Wendy for being a good sport about it. She probably realises the effect that she has on Stan, but she's not completely grossed out as most of us would be.
I mean, my 6-month-old Holly vomits on me, and I freak out. But she hands Stan the note, and it says that she wants to meet him at Stark's Pond later on.
Dude, what does the note say?
Holy crap! It says she wants to meet me at Stark's Pond after school.
Whoa. Maybe you can kiss her. Or slip her the tongue.
What? How do you know she has a cat?
The Kenny character is very clever. I always thought it was just one-dimensional. No, it's genius. No, absolutely genius.
He's a smuggling device.
They're trying to think of a way to get out of school. And this is where they go and talk to Chef.
Here, let me sing you a little song. It might clear things up. I'm gonna make love to you, woman. Gonna lay you down by the fire and caress your womanly body. Make you moan and perspire. Gonna get those juices flowing. We're making love, baby, love, baby, love, baby. Yeah! Huh? Do you feel better?
No.
Oh, come on, children. What can be so bad? It's Salisbury Steak Day.
I'm going to make love to you, woman. Amazing.
Oh, yeah. I think the first time I heard that, I'm like, first of all, any chance to hear Isaac Hayes singing is wonderful. But yes, to have him singing like basically a sex jam to these grade three kids in the form of like advice on how to relate to your schoolyard crush. It's like, I'm gonna make love to your woman. Oh, wonderful.
So good. I think this is the first time that the probe comes out of Cartman's ass, and Chef calls it a symbiotic metamorphosis device or something along those lines. Cartman thinks that Chef's, just joining in on the joke. He's still not buying into it at all. He doesn't think he's actually being probed. And Chef, being the awesome man that he is, calls a fire drill so the kids can escape. And Chef's super excited because he wants to escape as well because he thinks the alien's going to come back. So he wants to have first contact. He wants to meet the aliens.
Yeah.
The kids are all then happy to be out of school. Cartman's still in denial, but he's now under the alien control. So what's the I Love to Singer?
Yeah, I think it's... I'm pretty sure it's an old like Looney Tunes cartoon, or
from 1936 or something.
No. When did you say?
1936.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 1936. Not Looney Tunes. Sorry. I think it's a guy named Tex Avery.
I'm pretty sure you're right there. First time Looney Tunes.
Oh,
let me have a look.
Okay then.
I look it up. I Love to Singer is a 1936 Warner Brothers Merry Melodies animated cartoon directed by Tex Avery. You're correct. Yes.
Okay then. There we go.
Yeah.
So, look, I think the original cartoon is actually on YouTube. We'll throw it up on online for listeners of this show, so you can get a bit of a taste of I love to sing about the moon and the June and the spring.
It's such a catchy song.
Such a cheerful little ditty.
Yes, but this is where Cartman's like, what the hell was that?
What the hell?
What just happened? Yeah. And we get, I don't know whether this is the first son of a bitch, but we get it a few times this episode. Son of a bitch.
Yes.
We come back and the aliens have arrived in their ship. And they're just taunting Kyle, throw the rock, and they shoot out and they kill Kenny. The very first, oh my God, you killed Kenny, you bastards.
That's
Kyle, look, it's them. Give me back my brother. Oh my God, they killed Kenny. You bastards, come back here. Come back. Damn it, we were so close. Hey, look, I think Kenny's okay. Oh. Wow, poor Kenny. Now do you believe us, Cartman? No, Cartman, they killed Kenny. He's not dead. Dude, Kenny is dead. See? Shut up, you guys. He's dead, Cartman. Damn it, I didn't have an anal probe. Screw you guys, I'm going home. Go on and go home, you fat chicken. Dildo.
When you watched this for the first time, were you aware that was going to be a recurring gag, or did you think they just killed off Kenny from the get-go?
Look, I didn't really care about spoilers back in the day, so I think I'd probably read a few pieces about South Park before it premiered in Australia, and pieces that made clear it's like, yeah, the death of Kenny is like a recurring gag, taking the piss about, when a beloved character dies or something along those lines. Yeah, Parker and Stone just taking the mickey out of that. So, yeah, I was aware that's like, oh, he'll be back, but, yeah, it was always fun them just sort of finding more and more imaginative and grotesque ways to kill their little friend.
Yeah, well, it wasn't actually the aliens that killed him, because he then gets run over by the cows and then the cop car, and then to prove he's dead to Cartman, they pull him apart, which is pretty gross.
And then he gets eaten by rats.
Yes, always gets eaten by rats, doesn't he? Yep. And then I think the kids all leave Kyle here. They're like, Cartman he goes home in anger, and I think Stan says, as Chef says, got to get going while the oven's hot. Cartman walks in home, and as you discussed earlier, I'm pissed off. He's so mean to his mum.
Just his long-suffering mum, who's just waiting there with powdered donut. What was it?
Powdered donut
pancake surprise. Oh my God! No wonder he's big boned. But she's clearly in denial as well about the size of her son. She's one of those mothers who figures she's doing a good job of parenting as long as her son is properly fed.
Yeah. So just like I said, I just love that. Yes, I want cheesy poofs.
Cheesy poofs.
They then go and meet Wendy at the pond, and he's still throwing up all over her. Or on the ground. I know it was on her that time. I think it was just all over the ground. Kyle wants to go look for his brother, and Wendy's interested by this because, talk about fucking killing the moose, Kyle. Stan's there to go get some action.
Yeah, let's say block and stand. Jeez.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. But, she's intrigued. But then cut to Cartman and my favourite moment with the no kitty, this is my pot pie.
No, kitty, this is my pot pie. No, kitty's a bad kid. No, kitty's my pot pie. Mom, kitty's being a dildo.
Well, then I know a certain kitty who's sleeping with Mommy tonight.
What?
Just the fact that Mrs. Cartman is such a sex pot, and they just, really steered into that in later episodes and the movie and all that other stuff. But it's this very prim, proper seeming suburban, upstanding member of the community who's just an absolute hornbag. It's hilarious.
Wendy suggests that they use Cartman as bait, or as she calls him, the fat kid, as bait. And they agree it's a good idea, so they leave. The bird arrives to start swimming and bathing in the vomit. They don't waste anything here. It's like if there's a way to be crude, they're going to do it. Kitty is still trying to get the pot pie. Not going to happen. Cartman farts some fire, sets Kitty on fire. So Mum makes him go out and play with his friends after they arrive. He doesn't want to go, but she's like, no, get outside.
Go out and play in the fun snow.
Cut to the kids, and they've tied him to a tree. It's just, man, this sucks. Oh, man. And they keep making him fart to get the aliens to come, which he does. The giant dish comes out of his ass.
80
Cartman
foot.
still doesn't... 80-foot dish comes out of his ass. Cartman still doesn't believe it. Chef's watching from his place. Stereotype. 20 minutes, Sanford and Son's going to be on. Back in the day when you couldn't just stream and series link things and have it recorded.
No, you had to. Yeah, you were at the whim of the TV stations. Like, it's on now. You get ready now.
Yeah. It's like me at the beach at the end of the season. Stop having fun at the beach. I'm going to go home and watch Cartman's mum's a dirty slut. The aliens eventually do arrive. And so Mr. Garrison drives past. There's weird shit going on in this town. You can see that again, Mr. Garrison. Kyle then politely asks for Ike back. So a lot of episodes, if I remember correctly, end with Kyle sort of like Jerry Springer's. And now for final thoughts.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Again, sort of taking the piss out of that whole very special episode thing that sitcoms used to do.
We've learned a lesson today here, haven't we, people?
Yeah. Sitcoms would always do that. I mean, Family Ties would generally be about, oh, wow, these wacky hippie parents and their yuppie kids who don't understand each other. And usually be that kind of thing. And then every once in a while, Tom Hanks would come on as like wacky Uncle Ned, who's actually an alcoholic. And they've got to sort of, stop drinking, Uncle Ned, it's bad for you. You used to be my hero. And all this kind of stuff. But yeah, so for Parker and Stone to close out a bunch of episodes, I don't know how long this went on. Maybe it was just the first season. But it always closed out. A lot of them closed out with Kyle saying, but you know what? I learned something today. And it's like, okay, it's a very special episode of South Park. And every episode's a very special episode.
Well, their first two specials, the Jesus versus Frosty and Jesus versus Santa, both had the same thing. It's like, you know what, Stan?
Okay.
I've learned a lot about Christmas. I've learned the meaning of Christmas. What is it? Presents. But, so he asked politely for his brother back. And they just walk away.
No dice.
Then we get... exactly, no dice. And then we get lots of censor beeps. Now, I remember as a kid finding this scene hilarious. Not so much funny now, but I just remember finding it so funny as a kid, just all the different beeps, yeah. And the aliens just a bit taken aback by it. Ike comes out, he's up in the ship, they tell him to jump. Don't hurry me. Aliens, they communicate with the cows and they explain the whole situation that, you guys are actually the most intelligent species here. Killing the cow was Carl's fault. My bad. They give him the gift. We don't know what the gift does just yet. Ike then impersonates David Caruso's career, which didn't age well because he actually had a second life, didn't he?
He did. One article that I would really like to write would be like an oral history of David Caruso's career, because, I mean, he had a really interesting kind of ride. Because, he was like this supporting actor for a while, generally played kind of like, not weaklings, but, not tough guys or anything like that. Then in the late 80s, early 90s, he started like, got a few miles on the meter and it's like, started playing guys who looked like they could hold their own in a bar fight. Landed NYPD Blue, was the star, and that just made him a superstar.
Did it really? Okay.
Yeah. And he quit the show after like a year or maybe a year and a half.
All I can remember from NYPD Blue as a kid was the dude with the mustache.
Sipowicz. But Sipowicz does it. Yeah. But Caruso was the star. And, he was on the cover of magazines and all that kind of stuff.
Because he was like the sex bomb on that show, wasn't he?
Yeah. And I mean, you look at David Caruso and it's like, but he's this sort of, not wimpy red-haired guy, but it's not like, it's a bit of an unlikely sex symbol. But clearly went to his head. It's like, okay, I'm going to do movies. None of those movies did well.
Oh, okay.
So this is the impersonation of David Caruso's career, because he was the top of the world and then he just went... crashed and burned. Yeah. And then it's like, then he got CSI Miami. And it was just right back on top. Learned his lesson, stayed with that show for like 10 years.
A decade,
and now he's just vanished from the scene. And the thing of it is, almost no one that he's worked with has anything positive to say about David Caruso.
Really?
Yeah. The guy who made NYPD Blue, I think it's David Milch, but said, look, this guy is pretty much a nightmare. Not many people have anything nice to say about David Caruso, which is a damn shame. I'd love him as an actor. I think he's fantastic. I mean, I think he's a really interesting kind of screen presence, but apparently just a nightmare on wheels to work with. So that's the line about David Caruso's career. Just boom.
Yes, which in 1997 made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So Ike jumps out, saves himself. They fly away. However, they take Cartman with them. Then the ladies come to see Chef. What's this thing you have to tell us about? In the bedroom, ladies, in the bedroom. Kyle and Ike then go home.
Come on, Ike. We can make it just in time for dinner. Thanks for your help, Wendy.
Whatever, dude.
Hey, I didn't throw up.
Cool.
Ew! Sorry.
Hey, look! A french fry.
Cool.
And what is that?
I think it's part of a cheesy poof.
Hey, what's that?
That's hamburger from like 2 days ago.
Oh, hey, what about that?
I don't know what the hell that is.
We then get Stan and Kyle, and they're at the bus stop, so we're now down to 2. They're a bit sad because they've lost all their friends. Cartman's gone away with aliens. Kenny's dead. We see what the device was. It's actually the thing that turns Cartman into I love to sing ya, but they do it on the cop, on Officer Bar Brady. Then Cartman falls from the sky with a bad case of pink eye from who, Mr. Davis?
Scott Baio.
Yes.
Got that pink eye from Chachi.
And it ends with a classic son of a bitch. And that is the end of the very first episode of South Park, which from start to finish was just laugh, 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 laugh. I love this. Would this go down as one of the most iconic pilots of all time, do you think? Because I personally feel like this pilot changed how people viewed animated series.
I wouldn't go so far as about the pilot, but I would certainly say the first season did.
First season, yep. Okay, that's a fair point. Yeah. But yeah, all in all, it could not have liked this anymore. This was just a massive thumbs up for me. What about you?
Absolutely, yeah. Just look, great to revisit. It's sort of great to go back to the very beginning. Like I said, it's got the training wheels on, I think, but yeah, look, there's so much in here that's that just works. That just that just really works a treat and just gets everything off to a really, really good start. No, very much enjoyed revisiting Cartman Gets an Anal Probe.
All right, guys, it's now time for the Going Down to South Park mailbag. So this being the first episode, we didn't have any mailbag questions come through to the email, but we asked our patrons for some questions to send through that are episode-based. If you're unaware of who we are, we have the 4-figure discount patron page where you can support the show and in return you get access to a bunch of exclusives, including getting this show a week early. So if you want early access to this podcast, as well as a bunch of other exclusive podcasts, which we will do South Park related, but there's a bunch of other Simpsons and Seinfeld podcasts on there. You get 4-figure discount early, talking Seinfeld early, and everything else. We've got some movie reviews on there as well. It's going to be a $1 plus patron at patreon.com/4-figure discount. The link is in the description of this video. And also by doing that, you get access into our exclusive 4-figure discount Facebook group where you get to banter with other patrons as well as Guy and myself on a daily basis on Facebook. So it's well worth your time. It's great. So patreon.com/4-figure discount. That's enough advertising, Mr. Davis. It's time to get into the mailbag. So like I said, I posted in the Patreon group today, asked for some questions. First one here comes from Brian D. McCoy. And Brian says, which of the 4 boys do you most identify with?
Oh, the real McCoy. Okay, Brian. Well, Dana, you go first, mate, because I think you probably have a good answer for this one.
I think I would relate the most to Kyle. Kyle seems the most grounded, I'm not Jewish, obviously, but he seems like he seems the most caring of the 4. Mm-hmm. He seems the most normal, if that makes any sense as well, of the 4. I find Cartman is my favorite character to watch. Yeah. He's easily the funniest. But I think if I'm going to see myself in any of the characters, I think Kyle is the one who is sort of like, if you put them all together, I think he's all like the older brother of the group. He's the one with the more level-headed one, Kyle. So I think I'll be the Kyle.
I certainly see where you're coming from. Yeah, look, I think Cartman is definitely the fan favourite.
Yes.
But I think you'd have to be very wary of someone who says, yeah, I identify with Cartman. I think you can like him, but if you see yourself in him, seek help. Yeah, look, I certainly see a bit of myself in Kyle, but I probably find myself relating more to Stan. I think certainly as the show goes on and the seasons progress, I like Kyle, but I sort of see myself more in Stan. I'm trying to figure out why that's actually the case. If we're being honest, I've got a few more miles on the meter than you do, Dano, and I'll probably see myself more as Randy Marsh.
Yeah, I think Kyle's also the more conservative of the 4 as well.
I was rewatching some episode not long ago. I've forgotten why I wanted to watch it.
Yeah,
but it was the one where they went to the water park.
Okay, yeah.
It was the pee episode. Everyone who goes. It's Butters, Cartman, Stan, and Kyle, and maybe Timmy as well, or Jimmy, and all of them cop to taking a pee in a public pool or in the shower or anything like that. And Kyle's the one who's like, no, that's gross. Like, pretty sure that everybody's done that.
See, I pee in the shower.
Yeah, of course you do.
But you don't just like let loose. You go straight down the drain, but you pee in the shower. We all pee in the shower, right?
I'll pee in the shower. And, in the ocean, certainly. I don't know if I'd do it in a public pool, but it's been a while since I've been in a public pool.
Yeah, I don't go to public pools at all anymore because I'm in fear of swimming through urine.
Yeah.
But thank you for the question, Brian. So you're Stan, I'm Kyle.
Yes.
So this next question here comes from Andrew Palicati. And Andrew says, do you think South Park changed the face of adult-oriented animation with saucier humor, more mature themes, bleeped out swear words, at times graphic violence, and Matt and Trey ripping into anyone they wanted to? Early South Park makes The Simpsons seem tame by comparison. What are your thoughts, Mr. Davis?
Well, yeah, it's a good question from Andrew, Year of the Cat Pelicati. Dano, you said, did this first episode sort of, could it be regarded as a bit of a game changer? Yeah, I would think so. I mean, look, there were certainly precedents before this of grown-up animation. There was a guy named Ralph Bakshi who made a lot of animated movies in the 70s and 80s. He did an animated version of Lord of the Rings back in, I think, maybe 78 or 79. But he also did stuff like Fritz the Cat and Heavy Traffic. Fritz the Cat's got one of the great taglines, it's X-rated and animated.
That's great, yeah.
As far as stuff that was not so raunchy that kids couldn't watch, or maybe just sort of naughty enough for kids, I get the feeling South Park was probably a bit of a trendsetter in that regard. I mean, this predates Family Guy, predates Archer, all that kind of stuff.
So does Adult Swim exist if South Park didn't? Because we did have Beavis and Butthead and Ren and Stimpy, things like that, but I think this pushed it to a new level.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting all these things. Yeah, but
this definitely pushed it to a new level, though. I think
I'd say so. Yeah, I mean, when did Beavis and Butthead premiere? Beavis and Butthead sort of
93, 94 maybe.
Yeah, early 90s. But even that's not a full show. That's just kind of I suppose it was.
That doesn't have discussion about dildos though.
No, and it's a bit of a cult hit more than anything else.
It's a stoner comedy, not a crude comedy.
Yeah, likewise with Ren and Stimpy. I mean, that's very much kind of a, again, a bit of a cult sensation that on the verge of breaking through, or sort of people might know about it, or they might know Happy, Happy, Joy, Joy, or oh, you idiot, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think it was on the cover of mainstream magazines like, say, South Park was. I think those shows walked so South Park could run.
It's funny, a lot of those earlier season, early 90s, animated series like Ren and Stimpy, even Rocko's Modern Life, you watch it now and you think, how the fuck did this pass as kids' television in the early 90s?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, the 90s was a weird time, man.
Yeah.
A lot of weird art sort of made it through the mainstream. Although a lot of mainstream art was weird.
Yeah. By the way, I looked it up. Beavis and Butthead ran from 93 to 97.
Okay, then. All right, so they basically passed the baton on to Stan, Kyle, Cartman and Kenny.
So they turned the oven on and South Park cooked it.
They preheated, yeah.
Yes. Alrighty, one more question here and we'll wrap up the mailbag for the very first episode of Going Down to South Park. All right, this one comes from Mark Boston Burgess. He says, if you met some aliens, what would you say to them? It's an interesting one because I just don't think you'd know. I think it's one of those things you just have to blurt something out in the moment, right? But would you if you had the opportunity to go on an alien spaceship right now, an alien saucer flies to your front yard and says, we're going to go back home and take you for a ride, would you go?
Yes, I would give I'd send the lovely Louise a text back whenever. Don't wait up. And yeah, then I'd certainly jump in and I'd take the ride. I'd have to. You'd have to.
Yeah, you definitely got to.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you for your questions. Hope you enjoyed our review of Cartman Gets an Anal Probe. It was a hilarious episode to watch and just as much fun to review. Next week or next episode, we're going to be reviewing Weight Gain 4000. Now, as I said at the start, we're going to be reviewing this episode in 2 weeks' time. So every second week, you're going to get an episode of Going Down to South Park. And every week in between, you're going to get an episode of Talking Seinfeld. So if you love Seinfeld, make sure you check out that podcast as well. And if you're a fan of The Simpsons, check out 4-Figure Discount for much more hilarity. Well, enough Guy and Davis in your ears each and every week. Can't wait to check out Weight Gain 4000 for the first time in a long, long time. I also still own that one on VHS. That was another one of those videos I watched every single day. Don't forget to rate and review us in the iTunes store. Hit that subscribe button on both YouTube and on whatever podcast app you're listening to us with at the moment. But yes, iTunes, please give us 5 stars, leave some kind words. The more reviews that come through, the more chance people are going to find this show. So do that, please. That is your job for the week, for the next 2 weeks, listeners. I'm Mr. Davis. This has been a great ride, but for now, Any final words for our amazing listeners?
We're gonna podcast for you listeners.